Superior class is created by their profession, the way they are nurtured. We can change somebody's opinion, but we cannot change their thoughts. I stand very proud as a tree, bestowing every happiness that nature has to acquire from me. Do good, good will come to you. Do bad, the worst will come to you. That is karma. Karma means deed. Equality, happiness and non-discriminating society has just remained a dream which cannot be fulfilled at all. Hello everyone, we are getting familiar with each other, aren't we? It's only because we don't discriminate in the way we are. There is no discrimination in the education, there is no discrimination in the freedom, there is no discrimination in equality. That's what a true education bestows in all of us. But today, we are going through a poem. We will see how the untouchables are treated, how the old generation strife has been an ellipsis. When I say ellipsis, it's dot, dot and dot, which shows the continuity of the untouchable problems and the plight of the untouchables. Needless to say, every time from the very start of our education, this is what we have been witnessing in our history texts, sociology texts as well as in the political science textbooks. But of course, nothing is learned from that. We rely saying that we learn from our history, we learn from our past. But past has overleft or blemished the future and the present. When I say future first, it means that the future is very insecure. And what we are today, that is the present situation or the current situation, is pathetically terrible. I heed all of you only to follow your heart, which says equality and freedom, which imbibes everyone in a frame of societal norms. Here you have a poem, If I Was a Tree, written by Mudnakundu Chinnaswamy. The poet brings out a very epic sort of understanding. Here, the poet in himself, of course, who writes this poem in Kannada and gets translated by Rowena Hill. Imagine what sort of poem it should be when a conventional language or traditional language is getting converted into that of the other languages. It's only because it has a message to spread. India has been witnessing the plight of untouchables since years. Anybody could fathom about, nobody can even think about the people who have been unjustified where justice did not prevail. They have been tabooed, they have been in a stream of dogma or in a way wherein they are ill-treated by the superior class. Now, who created a superior class? Superior class is created by their profession, the way they are nurtured, the way they are born with a religion. And now, what is religion? Who created religion? More than the population, more than the people in the country or the globe, you have religion. And religion constitutes society. And they themselves decide who is superior and who is inferior. Going through, you have significance of the title. So every poem, when it is entitled or given a title, it holds a major portion. It contains all the themes, all the symbols, motives, allegories and what not to make it understand. The title in itself says, If I Was a Tree. So why tree? Why would this boy or somebody who is speaking about his normalcy of being a tree prefers to be the one? Why not, he says, I prefer if I was a god. Why not he would say if I was an air, if I was air, and so. He prefers to be a tree because tree is stable, tree is fertile, tree imbibes nature and nature is not biased. We human beings are. We human beings are very biased. We have preferences with that of the nature. We have preference with that of religion. We are fanaticized with the way we are. We humankind or mankind or human beings are very biased. We have preferences in whatever God has given us. But being a tree is unbiased. Tree wouldn't say, do not touch me. Tree wouldn't discriminate a superior class as well as the untouchable or the inferior class. It wouldn't say that I don't want to overshadow the downtrodden. It shades everyone. It protects everyone from the same scorching sunlight as well as from the torrential downpour or the heavy rain. So thou, the poet here, as a mouthpiece of an untouchable, portrays as a tree. He says, if I was a tree. An illustration speaks louder than words. So thou, here you have an illustration of a tree. On one side, you have an illustration of the tree. On the other side, it's completely void and vacuum. This is what tree gets to you, and this is what the discrimination does. The society becomes very clean in the sense that people are biased. So thou, the equality, there is no equality, it is empty. That's the present situation. How much ever we are educated, I am teaching you this, but how far will you fetch this to your mind? It's left to you. Let's go forward. I taught you in of the previous classes also. The latter also teach you the same. That every title is entitled with the paragraphs or the stanzas. And here the first stanza or the few lines is entitled as thoughts and belief. Everything starts here and ends here. I normally go with this. It's not somebody's assertion. It's self-made or it just popped out of my mind. We can change somebody's opinion, but we cannot change their thoughts. Opinions can be changed, but once you are imbibed with that thought, we cannot change that because thought is your conscience. Thought is your conscious. It's from your instinct that you brief it up. So here I entitled this stanza as thoughts and belief. Only while you are thoughtful, you are believing in something. Only when it is thought, you have the belief. Why don't we crawl across? If I was a tree, it starts with a dedication and assertion which states, if I was a tree, if probability, the possibility. Here, the poet becomes the mouthpiece of an untouchable. The untouchable says, rather being a human being, I would want to be a tree if I was a tree. The bird wouldn't ask me before it built its nest. The bird wouldn't take my permission if I can nestle here. Nestle, the way we dwell in a house or at home, birds nestle. Where they nestle is known as nest. The way we have a house, it's known as a house. In fact, the way the birds nestle is known as a nest. The bird wouldn't take the tree's permission before it has to build its nest and nestle there. Why? Because tree is unbiased. Tree wouldn't ask the bird which caste you are. Which caste are you? Are you a Hindu? Are you a Muslim? Are you a Christian? Are you a Sikh? Are you a Parsi? It asks nothing. It bestows its wide and lushy green tree all to the bird irrespective of gender also. I mentioned this gender in a parenthesis. This is also a social issue. What caste I am? It wouldn't ask me. The tree wouldn't ask me what caste I am before I build my nest. When sunlight embraced me, sunlight refers to dawn, a new day. A new day or the dawn. What is the meaning of dawn? Dawn means morning. Early morning is known as dawn. So sunlight brings out expectation. In a literature format, while we study about sunlight, sunlight is nothing but an expectation, a day filled with optimism. So this sunlight, when sunlight embraced me, my shadow wouldn't feel defiled. This refers to that generation or to that superior class wherein they think that even a downtrodden or the downtrodden caste or the upper middle class crosses the shadow of the downtrodden, they get defiled. They don't get salvation is what they think. They don't get moksha. So thou, they always stood away from the shadow of the outrageous class or the downtrodden class or the down class people. In the other way around, not mentioning of course, as the poem says, they stood away from all the Dalits is what it means. irrespective of anything, no biased of course, they talk about the untouchables. So the superior class did not want their shadow to cross the path of the shadow of the untouchable also. They thought that their soul would be defiled. My friendship with the cool breeze and the leaves would be sweet. So we always share, the superior and the outrageous class or the downtrodden class always share a bitter relationship. Who created that? Even though we are teaching today, even though we study umpteen textbooks, what is that at the end of the day? Even in the application forms also, we do have a column known as caste, religion, gender. So why? It's only for the application form or for the reference. It all is shrouded in mystery. At the end of the day, it all matters was what caste you are. What caste are you? Everything is a question mark, and this question mark is a generation strife. It's been the same since generation, and it is far-fetched. We cannot attain equality at all. Thinking about equality is far-fetched. That's what it says, thoughts and belief. Here, the thought is very different from the belief, because the untouchable thinks that if I was a tree, I would be very unbiased. I wouldn't run out of the shadow. I wouldn't say that he is of the superior class, he is of an untouchable. He is an untouchable. No, I wouldn't do that. And next, here it's entitled as divinity and hope. Divinity, which is very pure. Out of pureness, you have the hope. Hope is the only thing that is constant. Gandhiji asserts, once upon a time, of course, the father of the nation asserted, Ummeed se dunya kayam. Only with hope, your life is eternal. It's only hope which is constant in your life and which refrains you from all the difficulties of your life. So here, the untouchable also expects something. You never know, God might hear his wishes as well. Raindrops wouldn't turn back. Take me for a dog eater. So what is a dog eater? An untouchable is always termed as a dog eater. It doesn't mean that he eats dog for his survival. It means that they eat dirt. So the same raindrops, when it has a downpour, a torrential downpour, and when it is smeared, when I am smeared, the raindrop wouldn't sarcasm me saying that you are a dog eater. It wouldn't be biased. When I branch out further from my roots, Mother Earth wouldn't flee shouting for a bath. So here he makes a reference to Mother Earth also. Mother Earth is unbiased. If I am using the word unbiased, it's only for your understanding that the theme of the poem is unbiased and faith. Mother Earth, who actually takes everything, every people irrespective of caste, gender, creed, color and whatnot, she embosses everything onto her bosom. She never discriminates. So the poet says that if I was a tree, the Mother Earth wouldn't flee for a bath. So this is a reference to that superior class, or so-called to that upper religious class, who think that if they touch an untouchable, they'll have to go under the shower. They have to take themselves a bath, or they have to undergo a bathing, or for the salvation is what they think. So Mother Earth wouldn't be biased at all. When Mother Earth enroots me, when my root touches the Mother Earth, she wouldn't run away for a bath, because Mother Earth is unbiased. Unlike the superior class, I am not the one wherein the Mother Earth would be deprived. I stand very proud as a tree, bestowing every happiness that nature has to acquire from me. The sacred cow. Cow in Hinduism holds the highest degree. We worship. Would scrape her body on my bark, would rub her skin into my bark or my branch. Why? Whenever she has itching on her skin, the cow has to come back to me. How? To scrape her body on my bark. Scratching wherever it hitched. So I am unbiased. A cow is always welcome. Why? There is a reason. And the 3,000 gods. Why is it mentioning of the 3,000 gods? Why 3,000? Is that the exact number or is that the exact numerical that the poet is giving to us? It means that the sacred in itself reflects this. The sacred cow, when it says sacred, where 3,000 gods and all also dwell in her. Because we all worship mother cow. Again here a cow is also termed as a mother. So mothers are unbiased with their children. If there are many children also, a mother loves their children equally. It would be the same with the mother earth. I would be the same to the cow as well. Sheltering inside her would touch me. When she touches me, I am blessed. So there is a poignant way of representation stating that being a tree, it gives me immense pleasure. The overall stanza is a sarcasm stating the superior complex or the superiority complex of high-held religious people wherein they discriminate and untouchable. And this has been a history, this is the present, and this will be the future. It's a notch belief and entitled Eternal Salvation. So what is eternal? Forever. And what is salvation? Well translated, it is moksha, after death. So this is here the tree finds an eternal salvation. How can somebody find a salvation? When you have done good karma. We have this word karma. So now what is karma? Karma is not, it's not an abusive word. Karma means deed. Exactly. What goes round comes round. Do good, good will come to you. Do bad, the worst will come to you. That is karma. Karma means deed. What you sow, so you reap. So what you do, that's the same thing you get. You spread love, you will get love. You spread hatred, the same will come to you. That's karma. So here the poet says that in the voice of an untouchable says that I will find eternal salvation as a tree. Because as a human being, while you are dead, your body would be rotten and good for nothing. As we are living also, we are of no use to the society. In the same way, while you are dead, while you are perished beneath the earth, your body is rotten, you have maggots on your bodies all over. You have the worms refilling your skeleton and you are left barren and futile, waste. But tree isn't that way. Tree has its major significance role to play in the way the nature does. And what is it? Let's describe. Who knows at the end? He says, as a human being, I know what is my end. Once I am perished, once I am buried, I am rotten. I am of no use at all. My body starts stinking. The whole environment will be contaminated with an awful smell. But if I was a tree, who knows at the end? At the end, it means that he is connecting himself to the salvation or moksha. Hacked into pieces of dry wood. Dry wood also is of much importance. When a tree is alive, also we are needed. We get shelter, we get fresh air and whatnot. While it is cut down also, it's of use. As a human being, see, as a human being, we are of no use. Let's give a distinguish between tree and human beings. As a tree, also when it is alive, it serves people. It gives shelter, it gives rain, it gives whatever it is possible, it gives fresh air. But human beings, while we are alive, are we of any use? No. When a tree is cut down, in the other way around, personifying a tree, if a tree is dead, when a tree is dead, again it comes to somebody's rescue, it comes to use. But as a human being, are we of any use after death? There is nothing useful even though we are alive or dead. I might be made pure. How? How can I be made pure? Here, purity only refers to tree. In the other way around, human beings are impure. Human beings are impure because we start rotting down beneath the earth after our burial. So I might be made pure. How can I be made pure? Or becoming the buyer for a sinless body. The buyer, in simple words, in Kannada if I have to translate, it is known as chatta. wherein you have the bier, wherein after somebody's death, the 4 people takes them into the shoulder. So that's the bier, wherein the mortal remain. We don't say it as a dead body. We term it as a mortal remains, where the mortal remains is placed and it is carried to the graveyard or to the burial place. So I will be that. I'll be the bier for a sinless body, for the one who is dead. To that mortal remains. I repeat, mortal remains. We don't term it as a dead body. We term it as a mortal remains. So I'll be a bier to that sinless body, wherein 4 people will take my mortal remains to the burial place. Be borne on the shoulders of 4 good men. And I will be borne, in the sense I will be kept on the shoulders of 4 good men who don't believe in untouchability, who are not biased. I will be there. I'll be there on the shoulders of 4 good men who will carry me as a bier of that sinless body or the mortal remains, only for salvation. Last but not the least, every time in the end, there is a message to spread, asserting over and over again thousands of illustration or thousands of words which cannot befit the meaning a picture does or an illustration does. Here you can see an outcast. You can term him as an outcast or an unprivileged. Here is a superior class who keeps him aloof. There is a dogma. There is a taboo in the society which keeps an untouchable aloof from the stream of consciousness or the stream of societal norms. Why is it? In the former of the stanza, if I have to go back there, here you will find that hacked into pieces of dry wood burning in the holy fire. So coming back here and replicating that image to this, an outcast is always aloof the mainstream. A mainstream wherein he equally belongs as it does with the superior class. But here the poet makes a comparison, burning in the holy fire. Holy fire, when I talk about fire, fire indicates purity. So the same man who is termed to be pure, he wouldn't want to be that untouchable, rather he want to be that tree where it is burnt in a holy fire and it might find salvation in the end. So the symbolism and representation of the theme is very, very important. So I want you to keep this in mind, wherein an outcast is overthrown from the mainstream, and that mainstream is society. So society constitutes people and people constitute a society. So while society constitutes people and the other way around, so who is superior and who is inferior? How much ever we are educated, even education also holds prejudice against this. So this symbolism serves a purpose. Patch this in your mind so that it will help you elaborate your answer. Next, what are all the anticipated questions? I wouldn't give you a brief up story on what the questions might be asked because we are skeptical about it. Even though if I was in the board also giving you all the question papers, I'd be skeptical about it because your duty is to study. And once you understand the synopsis of the poetry, it becomes very easy for you to understand the essence. So looking on to the first question, why does the speaker want to be a tree? Why tree? You have to give the symbolic representation of tree. Tree is unbiased. Tree refers to nature and nature refers to tree. Tree prefers to be a tree in itself rather being an untouchable. But even though tree would have been termed as an untouchable, nothing would be defiled. Nothing would say that you are an untouchable tree and I don't want to nestle here. The Mother Earth wouldn't be reluctant. Nothing such. Next question. Explain the symbols found in the poem. What all the symbols can you find? Tree in itself is a symbolic representation. Tree in itself is a symbolic representation. You have the cows referring or symbolizing purity. You have fire. You have wood. Everything, whatever you find as a representation symbolizes the poem. Elucidate the significance of the title. So you can merge this with the last and the first question. If you understand this, elucidate the significance of the title. while you start understanding the summary. I don't really say summary, it's a synopsis. While you try to understand the synopsis, answers become easy. So what is the message that spreads around? I'll read it out for you, of course. We'll all have to celebrate the beauty of life. How can we celebrate? Hatred? Nah. Jealousy? Never. Inequality? It never and never. Only secularism is what calls for celebration. The way we are born without any caste. We are born with only one caste, and that's a caste of mankind. We are born only with one religion, and that religion is love. Here, Vidhyaashram thanks you for all the love that's been spreading around. Let's spread equality across. Until then, here's Vidhyaashram for you, standard retained on learning. Sayonara.